Dale,
Hello.
what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, man.
Uproar Fest now, huh? It's all underway?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, how's it going so far?
It's been great, man. It's
Yeah.
been great. Good couple bands, the real sort of festival atmosphere. So it's fun, it's the traveling circus.
Certainly, certainly. We'll hit on that some more later, but first of all, congrats on the success of the new album, Isolate, Medicate, and also the single, Words as Weapons, man. Did you expect the success that you had from this album and that single specifically?
I don't know. I mean, I guess when you release an album, one's always, I guess it's a case of, hoping for the best but expecting the worst.
Right.
We were very proud of the album we made, and we liked it, but, you never know until you release it and see what, people think about it. So there's always, a little bit of, trepidation going into it, but, the response was great, and, the single did really well, and, it's still doing well, and,
right.
That's always a little bit of a weight off your chest, when it starts doing well, you're like, oh, okay, so we're okay. People haven't forgotten about us.
We can keep going. We can keep going.
yeah, we can keep touring.
The album, it seems real as you listen to it from front to back. It's a real album. Where does it rank for you among the other Seether albums that you guys have put out?
I'd say certainly amongst my favorites. If not my favorite. I think we were in a really good headspace making this album. I think, we've learned a lot over the years, about, songwriting and things like that. We got to work with Brendan O'Brien again, who has become our fourth member, if you will.
Right.
But I think everything just came together, it came together easily as well. We recorded very quickly. It was very sort of organic. It just felt good all the way through. So I think this is probably my favorite. I know every band says yes, it's my favorite one, but I really do think it is.
Right. Makes sense, man. So your recording process is kind of weird. Was it different this time than with previous albums? It was 3 years in between albums, and the last time it was 4 years in between albums. A lot of bands these days put out albums like every year, it seems like. You guys do it a little slower. You don't put them out as fast, but it came together so fast. You took 3 years off. What did you do in the meantime when you weren't putting out the album?
A big chunk of that was touring, on the previous album. But then, we used to be a band who, and also, out of necessity, we didn't have the luxury of, taking time off to write an album. We had to get right off the road and get back in the studio and have some stuff written already that we'd done on the road. And, we did that a couple times, and it was so hard, I think you can easily kind of start burning yourself out if you don't take those breaks in between. So the last couple of times we just took some time off, went home, relaxed, spent time with, friends and doing the things you want to do, engaging hobbies and, and then come back with a full tank and fresh batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot to be said for that. We thought about trying to get something out and almost kind of rushing it, just for the sake of having something out. But we figured, we'd rather just take our time, and even if it is, a little bit longer between albums, we don't want to release something that we're not happy with.
And
we
like
want to
you
make
said,
sure that it's
right.
as good as we can make it, yeah.
And there may be something to be said for that, too. I mean, 2 successful albums in a row that you've done that way. So maybe that's the secret to success, man. Maybe it is. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the single, Words as Weapons. Tell me a little bit about that song, what it means to you, what it means to the rest of the band.
Yeah, I think Words as Weapons is very much a song about, relationships in general. Probably not the best relationships or the ones, you want to hang on to. But yeah, it's very much, I think, a take on relationships and how people can hurt those that are vulnerable to them, or who have made themselves vulnerable to them. But yeah, I think that's possibly a theme through, a lot of the songs. But funnily enough, that song, Words as Weapons, we actually had written and recorded to put on our best of that we released last year.
Right.
And we're like, wow, this song, we love this song. Like, we want to, waste it on the best of thing that we kind of didn't want to do in the first place. So we're like, let's keep it for the album. So that was kind of sort of the yardstick for making this album. We basically said, okay, well, each song that goes in this album needs to be at least as good, in our opinion, at least, as Words as Weapons. So that was the sort of yardstick going into
Makes sense. A great song. And then speaking of that greatest hits album that you put out, "Weak" was the single that came off of that, but it's also on the deluxe edition of the new album. Is there some other songs that we can watch for? Other songs that you think would be good singles? Other songs that you really personally like on the new album?
Yeah, I think my personal favorite on the new album is a song called "Crash." It's a little bit of a different song, so I don't know. It doesn't really fit the what people look for in a single necessarily, but I think that's what I like about it.
Right.
That said, I don't know if it will be a single. I hope it will. There's actually a lot of songs that I would really like to be singles, but unfortunately, there's usually only 3 or 4 off the album that make it. So
right.
I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see. But "Crash" is definitely my pick at some point. It doesn't have to be the next one or anything, but I'd like to see that just be played on the radio a little bit.
Sweet, man. Well, we'll watch for that one. Now, back to Uproar Fest for a minute. What are some of the bands that you've really enjoyed watching? Have you got out to watch some of the other bands play?
Yeah, absolutely. Skillet is always a band I love watching. Those guys just rip. Godsmack, of course. I mean, they're a killer live band too. Pop Eagle kills it. I mean, there's a lot of good bands on this tour, which it's really cool because it makes you kind of feel like you've got to step up your game to kind of
right.
hold a candle to these guys that are throwing down. So I like being in that environment. There's a lot of good bands playing, and you really feel you step up your game. You try that much harder, and you have that much more sort of passion for what you're doing because you don't want to be that band that people go home going, "Oh, that was cool, but it was kind of a letdown."
Right.
You don't want to be that band. So,
Certainly.
You go for it, and I think everyone kind of pushes each other, and it makes for a good show. I think certainly a show worth checking out.
Right. What can we expect from you? What's different per se from you guys now from like 2007? If we went to a show back then and we go now, what's different about Seether now?
It's hard to say. I think we've always just stuck to our thing that we do. We're a couple guys playing rock music. We consider ourselves kind of old school rock band. There's a couple guys up there playing. We don't run any kind of tracking or any tracks or anything. It's just what you hear is what you see happening on stage, and you like to just sweat it out and rock out and make some noise and just have a good time.
That's the way to do it, man. We're looking forward to seeing you at Uproar Fest. Dale from Seether, thanks a bunch for taking some time for us today, man. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
No problem, man. See you soon.
All right, see you, Dale.